Olivia Nuzzi, a sharp and relentless political journalist, has always been known for her fearless approach to reporting and her ability to cut through the noise of Washington. From the earliest days of her career, Nuzzi demonstrated a rare combination of wit, tenacity, and a knack for uncovering the human stories behind the headlines. She quickly became a standout figure in the world of political journalism, where competition is fierce and the stakes are high. Her journey began in the bustling newsrooms of New York, where she honed her craft and developed a reputation for asking the tough questions that others shied away from. Nuzzi's writing style, sharp, insightful, and often laced with a dry sense of humor, set her apart from her peers and quickly caught the attention of editors at some of the nation's top publications. She soon found herself writing for a prestigious magazine where her work would reach a national audience and her voice would become even more influential in shaping political discourse. Her fearless reporting and unique perspective earned her a reputation as one of the most insightful and daring writers in political journalism. Nuzzi was never afraid to challenge the powerful or to dig deeper into the stories that mattered most. In 2023, Nuzzi was handed one of her most intriguing assignments yet, a feature on Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a man whose name alone evokes a complex legacy of American politics, tragedy, and activism. Kennedy, the son of a political dynasty, was no stranger to controversy, and his independent run for president had already begun to stir debate across the country. Kennedy was widely recognized for his passionate environmental advocacy and his willingness to speak out on issues that others avoided. His campaign, unconventional and bold, attracted both fervent supporters and vocal critics. For Nuzzi, the opportunity to profile such a polarizing figure was both a professional challenge and a chance to explore the intersection of legacy, ambition, and controversy. Their first meeting was set in a quiet, formal setting, a classic interview between journalist and subject. But as the conversation unfolded, something unexpected happened. There was an undeniable spark, a chemistry that went beyond the usual dynamic of interviewer and interviewee. Nuzzi found herself captivated by Kennedy's intensity, his unwavering conviction, and the charisma that had drawn so many to his cause. She listened intently, her questions probing deeper, seeking to understand the man behind the headlines. Kennedy, in turn, was struck by Nuzzi's intellect, her incisive questions, and her refusal to accept easy answers. He admired her courage and the way she challenged him, pushing him to articulate his beliefs with greater clarity. What began as a straightforward professional encounter soon hinted at something deeper, a connection that neither of them had anticipated. The air between them was charged with possibility, and both sensed that this meeting might mark the beginning of something significant. As word of their rapport began to circulate, the public and the press became fascinated by the story. Whispers of a connection between the journalist and the candidate fueled speculation, and soon, their relationship became the subject of intense scrutiny and controversy. This initial meeting would set the stage for a scandalous tale that would upend both their lives, challenging their professional boundaries and personal convictions. The interview was more than just a story assignment. It was the beginning of a complex and controversial relationship that would blur the lines between journalism, politics, and personal desire, leaving both Nuzzi and Kennedy forever changed. After their initial meeting, Olivia Nuzzi and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. maintained contact, ostensibly to clarify details from their interview and discuss follow-up questions. What began as a standard professional exchange between a journalist and her subject soon took on a more personal tone. Their emails, at first strictly about the story, gradually became longer and more revealing, with each sharing more about their lives outside of work. As days turned into weeks, their conversations shifted from the realm of journalism to the realm of the personal. They began texting late into the night, exchanging not just information, but also jokes, stories, and confessions. The frequency of their messages increased, and the emotional intensity grew. What had started as a professional rapport was now evolving into something more intimate, with both parties finding comfort and excitement in their ongoing dialogue. Most of their relationship unfolded in the digital space. Emails and texts became their private world, a place where they could be candid and vulnerable without fear of public scrutiny. They shared their thoughts, hopes, and frustrations, building a connection that felt both immediate and secretive. The digital distance allowed them to express feelings they might have hesitated to share in person. Their conversations ranged from politics and current events to art, literature, and the complexities of life. They debated ideas, recommended books, and confided in each other about personal struggles. These exchanges deepened their bond, moving it far beyond the boundaries of a typical friendship or professional relationship. Kennedy, known for his eloquence, began sending Nuzzi poems, some original, some borrowed from his favorite writers. These poetic gestures were more than just words. They were tokens of his growing affection and admiration. The poems revealed a side of Kennedy that was sensitive, romantic, and deeply invested in their connection. For Nuzzi, these gestures were both flattering and complicated. She was engaged to fellow journalist Ryan Lizza, and the attention from Kennedy introduced a sense of emotional conflict. The secrecy of their exchanges added to the tension, as she navigated the boundaries between loyalty, curiosity, and the thrill of a forbidden connection. Despite the risks and the potential consequences, their digital intimacy continued to flourish. The clandestine nature of their relationship only seemed to heighten the excitement, as they shared private jokes, late-night confessions, and moments of vulnerability. Their connection was protected by secrecy, but fueled by a genuine sense of understanding and attraction. The emotional depth of their exchanges hinted at a relationship that was anything but ordinary. What began as a simple interview had blossomed into a complex, emotionally charged connection, one that would have lasting consequences for both Nuzzi and Kennedy and would soon draw the attention of those around them. As their bond deepened, Kennedy's poetry became central to their connection. He wrote heartfelt verses for Nuzzi, calling her Livy and confessing his love. The words "I love you" marked a turning point, intensifying their digital relationship. Both were entangled, Nuzzi engaged, Kennedy married. Yet their messages grew more intimate and fantastical. Kennedy made grand promises, even vowing to take a bullet for her and expressing a wish for her to bear his child. They discussed their favorite features, finding comfort in their secret world. Though never physical, their emotional intimacy was undeniable. The digital trail they left behind would later become the focus of public scrutiny. The secrecy surrounding their relationship added immense strain. Both were public figures with much to lose. Kennedy was married to Cheryl Hines, and Nuzzi was engaged to Ryan Lizza. They guarded their communications, aware of the risks to their reputations and personal lives. The need for discretion was constant, making every interaction fraught with tension. Despite the danger, their connection persisted, driven by mutual admiration and desire. The secrecy that protected them also made the stakes dangerously high. In September 2024, the affair was exposed, catapulting Nuzzi and Kennedy into the relentless glare of the public spotlight. What had once been a private matter between two individuals suddenly became a national spectacle, dissected by pundits and the public alike. The revelation sent shockwaves through political and media circles, as both figures were well known in their respective fields. Overnight, their names were splashed across headlines, and their personal lives became fodder for endless speculation and debate. The leak, reportedly orchestrated by Nuzzi's fiancé Ryan Lizza, unleashed a media frenzy that few could have anticipated. Journalists scrambled to verify details, while social media erupted with rumors and hot takes. The story spread rapidly, with every new piece of information fueling further intrigue and controversy. For Nuzzi and Kennedy, the loss of control over their own narrative was immediate and total. Headlines speculated endlessly about the nature of their relationship, the timeline of events, and the possible consequences for both their careers. Nuzzi, in particular, faced immediate and severe fallout. Her reputation, carefully built over years of hard work, was suddenly in jeopardy as the press questioned her ethics and professionalism. She was placed on leave and then dismissed from magazine, a major blow to her career. The decision was swift and public, leaving her with little opportunity to defend herself or explain her side of the story. The professional setback was compounded by the very public nature of her departure, as colleagues and competitors alike watched her fall from grace. Her engagement to Lizza ended publicly, adding personal pain to professional loss. The breakup played out in the media, with intimate details and private grievances becoming part of the public record. For Nuzzi, the collapse of her relationship was not just a private heartbreak, but a spectacle witnessed by millions. Kennedy's political ambitions suffered as the scandal complicated his public image. Once seen as a rising star, he now faced questions about his judgment and integrity. Supporters grew wary, and opponents seized the opportunity to cast doubt on his character. The fallout extended beyond his personal life, threatening to derail his career and future prospects. He tried to downplay the relationship, but the media seized on the emotional depth of their exchanges, analyzing every message and public appearance for hidden meaning. The scrutiny was intense, and every attempt to move past the scandal only seemed to draw more attention. The public was both fascinated and judgmental, highlighting the risks of private lives in the digital age. Online forums and social media platforms buzzed with debate as strangers weighed in on the morality of the affair and the consequences for those involved. The story became a cultural flashpoint, sparking conversations about privacy, power, and accountability. The scandal revealed just how fragile reputations can be under public scrutiny. In a world where information spreads instantly and judgment is swift, the line between private and public has all but disappeared. For Nuzzi and Kennedy, the consequences were immediate and far-reaching, serving as a stark reminder of the high stakes of life in the public eye. After the scandal, I faced upheaval. My engagement ended, and I lost my job. Seeking a fresh start, I moved to Malibu, far from the chaos of New York. Los Angeles offered space to reflect and regroup. During this time, I began writing my memoir, in secret. The process was cathartic, helping me make sense of my journey and the choices I'd made. Writing became a way to find closure and chart a new path forward. Kennedy responded to the scandal with calculated damage control. He downplayed the relationship, insisting it was only digital and not physical. Some accepted his explanation, but others saw it as evasive. The exposure of his private confessions complicated his public image and strained his marriage to Cheryl Hines. Despite the turmoil, the couple stayed together, though the affair left lasting scars. The episode underscored the challenges of private lives lived in the public eye. Legal troubles followed, as I accused Ryan Lizza of hacking and blackmail, though the case was dropped for lack of evidence. The public dispute added stress and media attention. Despite the chaos, I focused on rebuilding my career. Becoming West Coast editor marked a turning point. The new role allowed me to re-establish myself and move beyond the scandal. My experiences now informed my work with a deeper perspective. The scandal changed the course of both my life and Kennedy's. For me, it was a catalyst for growth and a re-evaluation of my values. My memoir, became a way to process and learn from the ordeal. The experience taught me about the complexities of public and private life. At I applied these lessons, shaping my editorial vision with new insight. For Kennedy, the affair was a reminder of the risks of public life and the cost of private choices. We both emerged changed, with a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world we navigate. The ordeal, though painful, offered lessons that continue to shape our futures.